Hi, my name is Kelvin Vu. I serve as the Chief Medical Officer for Open Door Community Health Centers. 2021 is Open Door's 50th anniversary celebration. As part of the celebration, we want to focus on the people that make Open Door so great. Each podcast episode will highlight an Open Door staff. It is an opportunity for us to learn more about them, their backgrounds, why they moved to the North Coast, why they joined Open Door, their dreams and goals. Last month's podcast also featured a patient who shared her perspective on why she calls Open Door her medical home. On today's podcast, we get to chat with the person leading the way for Open Door. He is Open Door's President and Executive Officer. Tory Starr, welcome.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Tory, yes, we continually get to have conversation with each other, but this one is a little bit more personal. We get to know you a little bit better. And so to kick off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure. My family is composed of my lovely wife, Wendy, who is a Humboldt County native. We have 4 children. We have 2 sons, Mitch and Colton, and 2 daughters, Shalisa and Bethany, and a wonderful 5-year-old grandson, Oliver. And I am fortunate to have my entire family living on the North Coast, and we have the opportunity to spend lots of time together, which brings me great joy.
Speaking of the North Coast, can you tell us how you came to the North Coast?
Sure. My journey to Humboldt County was not intentional at first. I actually grew up in Southern California and had decided after I left high school that I was going to go homestead up in Canada with my best friend at the time. And we had the opportunity to pass through Humboldt County on our way up to Canada. And I saw what an incredibly beautiful place this was, and passing through in the middle of August, and the fields near CR were still phosphorescent green. Fortunately, our plans to homestead out on the tundra of Canada did not actually materialize. And so when I had the opportunity to pursue a career in nursing, there was a wonderful nursing program up in Humboldt. And I had always remembered how beautiful Humboldt was in my journey passing through. So I had the great fortune of coming up here and graduating from Humboldt State with my degree in nursing. And because of that, I had multiple opportunities to stay within my community. And I just fell in love with Humboldt as soon as I got here. There's, I think, no prettier place on the planet, especially when the sun's out. And I think it's such a unique and special place because of the influence of having 2 schools of higher education here on the North Coast. It just brings such a plethora of intellectual capital and culture and art that it was very easy to find a place of comfort between having that and just the natural beauty.
And you mentioned you're from Southern California, Pasadena, correct?
Actually, I grew up in a town called Downey and then Newport Beach. Yep.
And then did you ever make it to Canada?
We did. We had a nice tour of the western provinces of Canada, a beautiful place, but 2 city folk that actually had grown up in the big city would not have survived very well out in the wilderness, especially in the first winter.
Reminds me of Call the Wild. Downey went all the way up to Canada, homestead, thought, you know what, that's not my thing. And so went down and then nursing program and then stayed ever since.
Pretty much. I had the good fortune a couple of years back to essentially go down and work for a large integrated delivery system in Northern California, Sutter Health, where I had the opportunity to participate in really I consider it a fellowship in population health management, to really work on doing large scale projects involving, a population of millions, to figure out how we could really deliver high quality care and really address a number of the issues beyond clinical challenges that people were having.
And one of the things that Humboldt is known for is what I like, and I think you like it too, is oysters. So what's something that nobody knows about you, Tory?
So some people do not know because about 30 years ago, after starting my nursing career, I was able to take advantage of an opportunity to actually be an oyster farmer. So a dear friend of mine and roommate from college who was a fisherman himself started Sea Harvest Shellfish. And we grew oysters on Humboldt Bay for about 4 years before we actually sold the business. So it was a wonderful time to spend out on the bay and recognize all the hard work and effort that it takes to go in and do something in an aquaculture mode.
So now when you are in the mood for some oysters, where do you go for that?
I was always delighted that people love to eat oysters, although myself, I was never a fan for them. But I would say that there are numerous places in Humboldt County that you can get a wonderful fresh oyster.
So you farmed them, you just never ate them, or
That is correct.
well, then you don't have to worry about decreasing your supply, right? When you are, that's your job.
That is correct.
So then take us back now forward to recent years. Why did you decide to join Open Door?
So I have always watched Open Door in its journey to serve the most needy of our community. And had multiple connections with Open Door in my work, actually in healthcare in the community. And had many dear friends that actually worked for Open Door, and had collaborated on a number of efforts in trying to do continuum of care work within the community, especially for those that were most disadvantaged. And then when I was away working out in the Central Valley, and the opportunity arose through some very unfortunate circumstances to come back and join Open Door, I didn't hesitate. I had always planned on returning to the North Coast. We didn't think it was going to happen until we retired. But to have such a wonderful opportunity to be able to contribute to the good of the community and to be able to hopefully utilize some of my talents and being able to help us create, a delivery system that really will address all the needs of the folks in our community.
Now you've been here with Open Door, with your time here. What do you enjoy most about working at Open Door?
Well, I think it's not just one thing. I'll give you the top 3 things. So number 1 is always the people. You get up and go to work every day because of, you had the mission and the purpose of the work that you do, which is certainly a part of Open Door and any FQHC, but it's really the people. I've found in my healthcare career that in general, people that are attracted to healthcare are some of the most compassionate and caring and giving people. And so it's just wonderful to be surrounded by that quality and type of person. And then I think the third thing is that there are just unlimited opportunities to serve and to do so in a creative way. And to really be able to look at holistically, how can Open Door actually meet the needs of our community and expand beyond some of the things that we had done in the past. So it's just every day is a new adventure, and it's done with just really wonderful people. And I just feel honored and privileged to be able to get up every morning and come to work and work with such wonderful people.
It's going to be hard for you to do this, but if you can quantify or at least share with us some of your favorite memories since you've been here with us at Open Door.
Oh gosh, there have been so many memories. I will have to say probably the most poignant memory was with the day that I found out that I had actually been chosen to be the next leader of Open Door, which was one of the most joyous moments of my life. And then I think the second most memorable was on the day that we were driving back from actually securing the $35 million funding that we needed to do to build the new Arcata Clinic and to refinance some of the debt that we had, that we realized that COVID was here and it was here to stay, and it was going to change the entire universe in so many different ways. And so that happened roughly about 45 days into my tenure. And it's just been amazing to see how in such an incredibly responsive way that our organization has figured out how to serve the community through so many challenges. And it was done primarily by just the amazing clinical people we have. And you're one of those folks, Kelvin, you and Willard, Dr. Hunter, and Julie Onimus. You know, your clinical guidance for us as an organization and to help the rest of us and the clinicians figure out what we needed to do during a time when people weren't really clear on how to do that. And just that sense of teamwork and that sense of listening to others and figuring out where the needs were and then how could we come together creatively. It's been really a remarkable experience.
Well, thanks for saying that. And I think you also forgot your third favorite memory is working with Kelvin Vu. It's just right up there too, with your top two memories.
You know, I would concur with that on most days.
Yes, most days. Speaking of, you know, you mentioned right there, your second part was when you were driving back and securing the loan, and then, you know, school closure happened. And then, you know, the dominoes started falling, where shelter in place. And so now we are, 22 months into the pandemic. What impresses you most about our staff when dealing with this pandemic?
Well, I think not to use a cliche, but I think it is an accurate representation that our staff never hesitated to run to the fire, right? We saw that there was a need, and no one ever hesitated to say, we're going to continue to figure out how to serve our community. And then I think the leadership team was very thoughtful in making sure how we were going to approach this, knowing that we had an obligation and responsibility, that we were going to put safety at the forefront of everything we did. We were going to keep our people safe who were delivering the care, and we were going to keep our patients safe who were receiving the care. And I think that guiding principles has allowed us to exhibit an enormous amount of creativity, an enormous amount of flexibility. It's allowed us to embrace technology that we knew existed, that we hadn't fully utilized in doing video care. And we've been able to look at create new ways of providing service to our patients and their families that actually is more convenient to them. So I think that whole experience of seeing the creativity and the adaptability and flexibility in the middle of really a time when people weren't exactly clear day by day. Because I remember you saying, Kelvin, sometimes I just think a day ahead, and then it got to be 3 days ahead, and then it was a week ahead, right? So I think understanding how we would come together in that fashion and have the confidence to know that whatever came our way, we were going to be able to do it, and we were going to be able to do it by doing it together. And I think we have just seen just example after example of that spirit that I think, you know, is embodies what Open Door is all about and the values that we hold.
And, you know, you bring up some very good points about with the pandemic still going on, and we're hoping that it will be becoming an endemic, that we're going to have to live with COVID, right? We've been trying to live with that, and we continue to face many challenges. And one of them is people, the workforce shortage, the burnout. And so as the leader of Open Doors organization, what are some ideas that or things that you are trying to work out to continue to focus on the people, and especially dealing with burnout and the workforce shortage?
Sure. You know, I always take the opportunity that when we're bringing new people on for orientation to the organization to spend at least a few minutes with folks, because our most important resource as an organization is our people. I mean, when you strip away everything else We are an organization of people who care for people. And so when you realize that your most important thing that we have as an organization is our staff, right? And our obligation as leaders is to make sure that our staff has the tools, resources, and support they need to be able to serve our community. And when you get to that point, it becomes very easy to be able to continue to move forward in the middle of all of that. And what we've seen, I was just amazed at, in the middle of a pandemic, the amount of things that we were still able to do as an organization that without a pandemic would be monumental successes. So we continue to stand up a family medicine residency program in a rural area that had never existed before. That is a monumental effort that requires collaboration with multiple partners within our community, but also requires so much from our staff to be able to dedicate their efforts to make sure that we are providing the highest level of educational experience for those folks that are in the residency. And in the middle of that, we also became the largest provider of obstetrical services within Humboldt County, which is an incredibly complex, high risk and demanding actual service line that's fundamental to the needs of our community. And we did that simultaneously. And at the same time, we figured out how, of all the rural healthcare FQHCs and some of the larger FQHCs in the state of California, figured out how to do video care in the pandemic in an environment where there is a lack of physical infrastructure for that to actually take place. So just those things alone, incredibly remarkable. And by the way, we also continue to move forward and start to build a new clinic in Arcata. So when you look at all those things, it's just remarkable, but it's all based upon our people. That all was because we have such a dedicated, creative, energetic group of folks. But the toll of the pandemic, just as the rest of society, our staff is just representative of the rest of society. And having run to the fire every single day for 22 months takes its toll. And so we've tried to do every time we can look at a way to be able to support our staff in any manner. We have consistently tried to do that and looked for creative ways to make that happen. And so we've been very flexible. Our ability to create people to have flexible schedules, to be able to work remotely, to be sensitive to their needs for their family, to provide extra support from a psychological standpoint, to be able to communicate frequently, our town hall meetings, our ability to really make sure that people have the information that they need to be able to move forward. And then bringing on a workforce development function within the organization that we never had before, so that we could bring people on in an even more structured and systematic manner, so that they would be able to come into the organization and feel supported, and that they would have ongoing, education and training as we move along to help build their resiliency. So our goal at Open Door is people come to work for us forever if they would like to, right? Because that's really the most important. So recruitment's important, but really retention is much more important than recruitment. So we're always looking for new ways that we can continue to support our staff, whether it be the fact that we have not raised the cost of our health benefits for over 5 years now, because we didn't want to add that added burden, to make sure that our salary structures are competitive to the rest of the marketplace, to make sure that people are placed on that salary scale equitably, and to look for creative ways to incentivize people to actually be able to participate more fully. So the work we're doing in our Learning Better Together collaborative, in engagement with our colleagues at Coleman, is really about us looking to have greater support for the people that are doing the work, and let them participate in the process to find the innovation and creativity so that we can continue to serve our community better. So we are, I like to use the term investing in the future, while managing the present. And we have done just so many things to invest in our people, and we will continue to do that over the next 3 to 5 years. And we've created a strategic plan in cooperation with our board of directors, and really looked at what are the needs of our community and what are those things that we want to focus on in the next 3 to 5 years.
That is a very extensive, and also I'm tired just listening to all the things we've done, and it, like you mentioned, it's all about the people, our staff,
Yep.
who have pulled together to do that, even when we don't have to deal with a pandemic in regular time.
Yes.
You mentioned your strategic plan for Open Door for the next 3 to 5 years. Professionally, what I'm curious about personally is, do you have a secret dream or a goal that we might not know of for Tory Starr as the human being?
Oh gosh, Kelvin. I think I'm really getting a chance to live my dream right now, to tell you the truth. Being able to return to my home and to really be part of a amazing organization. I literally go home every night and feel like I have made a contribution to the greater good. And I wake up in the morning and want to go back and do it again. And when we talk about what we want for our entire organization, that's how I want people to feel. I want them to feel like they made a meaningful difference. They had a positive contribution to their community, and they go home, enjoy their family at night, and then get up the next morning and want to come back and do it again. So everything that we're doing as an organization, as a leadership team, is to create that environment where people feel like they have meaning in their work and that they are joyful in being able to do that work. And so we're going to continue to do that, even though there's many barriers and obstacles to that. I have no doubt with our creativity and our commitment to each other that we'll be able to do that.
You mentioned, and as we're getting closer to the end of our discussion, our chat here, you mentioned you take the time when we have new people onboarding or orientation, you come and you chat with them, you get to know them as individuals. What's one piece of advice that you share with somebody who is just starting out, joining Open Door? What advice would you give that person?
Well, I have been so lucky, Kelvin. I stumbled into my career as being a nurse, right? It wasn't intentional. I didn't even have a goal to go to college originally. And I kind of stumbled into that. But what I've always loved to do is to learn. So when I graduated from nursing school, I actually had enough units to have 2 other degrees, just because I loved taking classes and learning more. And in my career, I've had this opportunity to just continue to learn and to grow. And that's what I would encourage everybody to do, is that embrace those opportunities to be a continuous learner, and then enjoy that journey. Not so much that you're trying to get to a specific destination. I never sat down and said, I wanted to end up being the leader of Open Door in my career. It's just by embracing opportunities and enjoying the journey as I went along that more opportunities opened up for me. And that's what I would share with everybody that comes to work for us, is that always think about how you can learn, and then always just enjoy the journey that you have, because you should never take anything for granted, because we're never quite sure what might happen. But if you remain open, then lots of things positive will happen.
And that is very good advice. And what I've come to appreciate about you in the almost 2 years that we've been working together is, number one, you came to Open Door at a very unfortunate time. And then, as the new kid on the block, right, you had to learn the culture of Open Door, and we're still learning every day because it's evolving. But what I appreciate about you, 2 things. Number one is I appreciate your commitment and your dedication to the organization and to the people of Open Door, because buildings come and go, but it's actually the people, right? The people is what is important, is the essence of what drive the care that we deliver to our patient. And the second thing that I appreciate about you is your flexibility and your willingness to listen and to people's feedback and for like whether or not we should do it one way or another. And this pandemic has basically forced us to be as flexible and as nimble as possible. And so that's what I have appreciated about you, and I'm glad that you are the person to be taking us into 2022 and then upcoming years.
All right. Well, thank you, Kelvin. And it's just an honor and a pleasure for me to actually be part of Open Door and to work with such an amazing group of people. So, and I really look forward to the next however many years that we have in this journey together. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of challenge, but I know it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you to Tory for the great conversation. And we wish everyone a very happy holiday season.
Great. Thank you, Kelvin. Thanks, everybody.